Hey guys, it's Bree here with Blossom & Branch Farm, and today I'm going to show you how to make our seed starting soil. This is the one that I have been recommending this season if you are concerned about the cost of wool pellets. And the wool pellet recipe has been working really well for me, but I have heard from a few people that it's too moist and because it's very moisture retentive, the wool pellets, and also very expensive. So we are mindful of the fact that the wool pellets are really expensive. We are doing some experiments with our sheep to see if we're able to just use their pelt just straight, not being pelletized. I think that might work well as an alternative. If you don't want to go down that road, I'm going to show you how to make the other one, which is also really great, and it's peat free and it's very easy. So I'm going to start with Coco Loco. This is my go-to potting mix blend. This is from Fox Farms. This is not sponsored. They don't sponsor me. I don't think they've actually even ever talked to me. This is the Coco Loco that I use. This coconut coir based mix contains, so it's 50 to 60% coconut coir, aged forest products, perlite, and fertilizer, and it's triple washed. So a lot of times the concern we have with coconut coir is saltiness, salinity. This is triple washed. So I start with this. Seagulls? Where are the seagulls coming from? We're in Colorado. No seagulls all day. And I start recording a video and there's seagulls. All right, so I'm gonna sift. I always recommend starting by sifting this. So I'm going to sift. I just use one of these little 1/4 inch sifters. It's a stainless steel strainer, technically. And we have those linked in our shop. And then you just fit it into a 5-gallon bucket. That's why I like using these, because it's really convenient. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start sifting. So it's really easy to sift. You just put your soil right in. I take my hand, I just swirl it around, and as I kind of swirl my hand around, the finer pieces go down and the little sticks and things stay up on the top. The sticks and things are what we don't want in our mix. Now the little bits that are left on the top after you've sifted are actually great for mulching as a houseplant mix, so for orchids or for houseplants, because it's a very rough mixture, or you could just use it as mulch. And the reason that I sift this is just because if you're using it to make soil blocks, it just makes a better consistency soil block to get these big chunks out. And also for seed starting, it's just a little bit easier for those little seeds to pop up if they're not impeded by a piece of bark or something. So sifting it is always a good idea. So this is 2 cubic feet of soil. This bag cost me $35. And then I have coconut coir. This is just the coconut coir that comes in blocks, and I rehydrate. We just add this coconut coir because it helps to lighten up this mixture. Again, because we're using a potting soil and seeds generally like to start in a slightly lighter mix. Adding this helps if you're starting in trays, and if you're starting in blocks, this coconut coir serves as an additional binder to hold those blocks together. You can see how it's kind of fibrous. That's where it helps to bind. And the third is green sand. Now, green sand I've actually bought in a bag before as well. This time I happened to find it. I could only find it like this. Green sand comes from deposits of ocean sediment, very effective plant nutrient and won't burn plants, so important for seedlings. We have tried leaving this out before. It just does perform better with it in there. Now, we've also added mycorrhiza to this in the past. Kind of stopped doing that because I don't necessarily feel it's super necessary anymore, because especially with the Fox Farm, the Coco Loco already has some mycorrhiza in there. So if you're trying to keep this a little bit cheaper, then you don't have to add that mycorrhiza. The green sand cost me $22. This is a 3-pound container. This will be enough to go with our 1 bag of potting soil. And then our coconut coir is very inexpensive, I think $10 or $12. So that means for under $70, I get a ton of seed starting soil, over 2 cubic feet. So once I have that sifted Coco Loco, I'm gonna measure this into a bigger container. I'm gonna pre-mix this soil, and then I'm just gonna take it out as I need it. I'm going to start with 4 parts of the sifted Coco Loco. But for purposes today, I'm just gonna use a small container. You can use any size container. If you're making a big batch of this, you can use a bigger container. I'm gonna use this jar, and I'm gonna measure out 4 scoops. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I'm gonna do 1 part of my coconut coir that has been fluffed up and rehydrated if you bought it in a brick like I do. So we'll just kind of stuff it into my jar here. You don't have to pack it down too hard. Just fill the jar or container you're using, 1 part of that. And then about 0.25 parts of green sand. So 0.25 parts, about 1, you can't really see that because the green sand covered. So You can't really tell, but it's about 1/4 of this jar is gonna go in here, and then we'll mix it together. This is always the most fun part, is when you get to get your hands down in there. So you can see, even though this is potting soil, it's still nice and light and fluffy. You can see a little bit of the green sand in there. You can see a little bit of that coconut coir, some of the perlite. And again, this is the same recipe that we use for soil blocks or for trays. Now let's take a look at this mix and see how it performs. So this coconut coir green sand recipe is one that I've used now for going on 3 years. I tested it for a full year. We used it last season, and then this season we've been incorporating the wool recipe as well into our repertoire of seed starting recipes and trying that one. So just a comparison of how they're all doing. This is 6 different seed starting soils. You can go back and check out that video if you're interested in more on this. This is the update on how these are doing. Now, up here we have Miracle Grow. This one was doing well for a while, but then some of the leaves started to get kind of almost burned looking on the ends. And we have some curling happening down at the bottom. But the radish is looking good. Look at this radish that it's growing. I don't like Miracle Grow at all, but it is performing pretty well. Black Gold performing horribly still. Barely put on any growth here. Here is Jiffy Seed Starting Mix, actually doing pretty decent here. Over here we have just a mix of vermiculite, perlite, and peat. It's doing all right, but not great. Over here is the wool pellet recipe in a tray, also performing fine. One of the tomatoes is not doing very well. I think something happened where I was overwatering. I'm gonna go ahead and take fault for that. And then this is the one that we just made. So this is the recipe we just mixed up with the coconut coir, the green sand, and the Coco Loco. Very healthy looking seedlings. So this one performs quite well, especially when you compare it to all the other ones that we grew. This is by far the winner. So if you're looking for a more affordable, peat-free, easy mix that you can use for soil blocks or in trays, check out and give this one a shot. I hope you try it. And if you've tried it before and you've used it, please let us know down in the comments. I'd love to hear it. We'll see you next time at the farm.